Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, how you like my new witch hat? I'm styling today, huh? Sleek black. Always a classic, and it never goes out of style. You guys are the best. But I want to say thank you for being here. Some of you have been following my channel. Last week and Wednesday, I did a video all about my witch hat collection. And if you haven't seen that, check that out. It's last Wednesday's video. And anyways, I was saying in that video I needed to get a new black hat. Well, I just got one. So if you want to see the rest of my hats, definitely go see that video. Well, I'm so glad you guys are here. Listen, if you enjoy Psychic Bob and his witch hat, make sure to come and see me on Halloween. On Tuesday, October 31st, I'm going to be on Kelly and the Raw. We're going to do a live streaming broadcast, and you can call in and speak to me and get live readings. And we're going to talk about all sort of mystical things, magical portals, the spirit world, the thinning of the veil, all of that. And if you don't know Kelly and the Raw, she's a wonderful psychic out of Dallas, Texas, and she and I are friends. And if you go to the front of my YouTube page, if you click on the word Spirit Channel anywhere on my video, it'll take you to my YouTube channel, the main channel page. Over on the right side, I have people that I recommend, and you'll see Kelly Coffee in the list. So click on that. That'll take you to her page, and you can subscribe, and you'll be able to know that I'm on Halloween. So I'm going to be on her show Halloween. I don't know what the time is. I'll have to get back to you, but she may have it listed over there. But either way, make sure to be there. I'm knocking stuff over here. But I am so glad you guys are here, and I'm having such a fun time. Well, here it is. It's Tuesday, and that means time for messages from the spirit world. That's right. I want to say welcome to all the newbies. Thanks for being part of our channel. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to hit subscribe. I've been hearing I got a lot of people watching, but they don't actually have accounts. And if you love Psychic Bob and you want me to be here, I really need you to subscribe, because that's how I get corporate sponsorship, by the number of subs. So that helps me to be able to be here and do as much as I do. I try to put out a video every day. Some days I get busy and it's a little hard, but if I have a little more help, i.e. subs and sponsors, then I can be here more regularly with you guys. So I hope you'll help me out. Just set up an account. It's free, doesn't cost anything. You get all the updates. You'll be part of our community, okay? I'm so glad you're here. Well, we're going to do messages from the spirit world today. Now, a lot of you have been writing and said, Psychic Bob, what is messages from the spirit world? I just heard about your channel. This is where I gather a bunch of letters. I take letters from people. I get a lot of people write to me from all over the world. And I just grab a bunch of letters, and I go through and do little mini psychic readings for everybody. And if you enjoy this, send me a letter, and we'll try to get you in. Now, I just have to be honest with you guys. I get hundreds and hundreds of letters each week, so I can't right now personally write to everybody and always, personally handle the mail. It's just more than I can do. But I do read all the letters. If I don't get back to you, please forgive me. I'm not trying to be hateful. It just takes me a long time, and I have a lot of mail. Okay. So in the future, hopefully I'm going to have a staff member that I hire just to manage my mail, because I know that I'm missing some communications with you guys, and I want to have more access to each of you as well. So having some help to get the letters to me and get them sorted, all that really is going to help me, and I'm working on that. But in the meantime, bear with Psychic Bob. Well, I'm glad you're here. Well, we're going to jump into our letters here, but before we do that, let's all just take a moment. Let's center ourselves, and let's attune to the spirit world. Okay, I hear my spirit guide Fletcher back here. He says hello to all of you. All right, our first letter today is from Just D's Creation. Hi, D. D writes, she says, Dear Psychic Bob, can you please tell me what my purpose is on this earth? I am 45 and feeling so lost. Am I a healer, a witch? Please help. Hi, D. Good to see you, darling. Sending blessings to you. Well, listen, hon. When we get to those middle years, I myself am in my 40s also, almost 50 actually. Um, you know, this is a time where we really do stop and evaluate and take stock of our lives. A lot of people talk about a midlife crisis. I don't like to think of it as a midlife crisis. I like to think of it as a midlife awakening. And this is the time where you get to really come into alignment with your higher self, with your soul journey, you know, with your destiny. And so here you are at 45 and you're feeling lost. Well, actually, I know this is going to sound strange, but I'm actually happy to hear that. Now you're going to say, what? You're mean, Bob. No, no, no. I'm happy because it means that you're taking your journey seriously and that you're awakening now. And when we start to awaken, that's where we have real power. I have to tell you, when I step into your vibration, I get a few different colored lights around you. I get some green light, I get some orange light, and I get some pink light. And what this means is the orange light tells me that you actually have an artist theme. You're actually a channel. You're a natural channel of creativity, of power. You have green and pink light. These are healing colors. And I feel that you do have an artist theme as well as a healer theme. And as for being a witch, absolutely, you're already a witch. See, witches channel power. It's part of what we do. And you're a natural channel, and you're a natural witch. And you may not belong to a coven, but you know, you don't have to be in a coven. You just be who you are. Now, you know, of course, we have the Order of the Purple Cord. I think you're a member there. Don't you a member of the Purple Cord? If you're not, you should be. Anyways, go to my website. I'll put the link below, robert-hickman.com, and it gives information about the Order of the Purple Cord. But, you know, everybody joins the Order of the Purple Cord is somebody who is called to Wicca, called to the craft. And I feel like you do have a calling in the area of magic and of healing. I see purple pentagrams around you, which tells me that you channel high magical power. So I think working in the healing arts, particularly like Reiki, acupuncture, massage therapy, any of the holistic healing arts is really where I see it for you. But I also see art around you, and I feel like part of your mission may also be a form of art therapy. Like, for example, teaching people to use art for healing, or yourself channeling images and colors and visions that then bring healing to people. I think you might want to explore also studying like channeling people's spirit guides so that you could paint them. I think you're far more of an artist in you than you even realize. And I think that that art can be a form of channeled healing. So when we talk about healing, it doesn't necessarily just have to mean you just have to do work on people's bodies, but it means work on their soul. The pink light in your aura tells me that you have emotional healing gifts. The green means you have physical, so I think you could do both. Like, for example, you could do beautiful images, paintings of guides, and then channel Reiki into the painting to empower it, and then give people gifts of healing art. And just having the painting in their house would always release energy. So don't limit yourself saying, well, I have to be a healer, therefore I have to be, you know, a massage therapist, or I have to be a witch, meaning I have to be a psychic. It's all one. So don't separate it, but embrace your channeling ability. I want you to get some books on channeling. One that I recommend is Opening to Channel by Sonia Roman. Look that book up. And then also I want you to, you know, do some exploration in various types of art, painting, particularly painting spirit guides. I want you to research spiritualism. I think that for you, where your challenge has been is that you're looking at it as like, I have to be this or I have to be that. Really, it all works together. So you can be a Reiki master and channeler and an artist. And they all contribute to the overall well-being of the people that come to you. So I'd like you to meditate on that, okay? Anyways, I feel this is going to be a powerful next year for you. 2018 is really a year where I see you really walking in that light. You got a lot of power around you. I know you don't feel it today, but you do have it. And I want you just to open it. I want you to sit every day in meditation And just visualize beautiful light coming through you. And let that light raise you. It can be any color, golden light, white light. It's all high vibrational. And let the light give you power. And you'll start to see, excuse me, I'm drinking water, by the way, not Coke. I want you to see how that light, letting that light through you, brings you power. See, when we get in those places where we feel lost, a lot of times what happens is we feel lost because we forget to connect with the light, and the light is our higher self, okay? So today you're not going to be lost. Today you have a mission. So you've got homework assignment. I want you today to start literally researching channeling. Get that book. I want you to start practicing channeling. I want you to get a paint set and sit with the brushes and the canvas. And I want you to ask Spirit to bring images through you. I want you to research Reiki and energy work. All of this can be a source of career for you, a source of income, and will help you fulfill your purpose here, okay? I hope that helps a little bit. Let me know what happens. Thanks for writing. All right, our next letter is from, oh no, I didn't put the name on here. All right, well, I'll come back to that name, but let me read the letter. I wrote the note and I forgot to attach the name on it. You know who you are when you hear this. Dear Psychic Bob, how do I get my higher self to stop being poor? I think this is from Brian, actually. Here it is, Brian McHugh. Sorry, Brian, I couldn't see. I moved your name on a different part of the page. Brian McHugh. Dear Psychic Bob, how do I get my higher self to stop being poor? I thank my higher self for letting me have this experience of being broke. But now, let's be rich and abundant. Brian, I like that. I think you got to, first of all, I think you have a great attitude because you're making fun of this situation. You know what? When we can laugh, laughter is a medicine that cures all ills. You know, I recently got a hate letter. I have to tell you this. I got a hate letter from a targeted individual. Now, you guys know that I'm a targeted individual. If you don't know what that is, I have a video you can look up. I'll put the link below called, The Murder of Psychic Bob by the U.S. government. Basically, in a nutshell, targeting is that the government is now singling out citizens for execution and torture. I have been put on a list. I have been notified by federal agents that I am a terrorist of the United States and to be assassinated and executed. And they have tried. Now, people are saying, how can you sit here and talk about this? Fact is, I actually got to the point where I can start to laugh. Now, because people that are in the TI community see me have joy in my heart, they accuse me of being a false TI. They say, you're just playing to be a TI for publicity, or you're a shill, you're a government agent. No, what they've missed is that when you go to a place of sorrow, a place of struggle, if you don't laugh, you won't survive it. You know, there was a great comedian, Joan Rivers. I know you guys know who she was. She died a few years ago. I always loved Joan. And Joan used to make some of the most outrageous, outlandish remarks. And sometimes she got criticized. And she even used to joke about the Holocaust and the Nazis, which I know most of us say that's bad form. But she said something. She got attacked. And she said, first of all, she said, I'm a Jewish person. I had relatives die in the Holocaust. So she said, I have the right to talk about it, which I think she did. And she said, but the people, she interviewed a lot of people over her lifetime who had survived the Holocaust because they knew she was Jewish and what happened to her family. And they said to her, you know, Joan, we're so glad that you laugh, because she said, those of us who survived, we survived because we laughed. Now, Brian, the reason I'm telling you this is that, see, you've crossed through a real rough time. I can see it around you. But I have to tell you, when I step into your frequency, I'm getting a lot of sky blue light and silver light around you. And this tells me that you're coming into a time of power where you're going to start networking and meeting people. And I feel like there are going to be a lot of business connections coming for you. So when you say to me, how do I get my higher self to stop being poor? Well, the fact is you've already done it. And what it is that on a soul level, you have to give yourself permission to learn the lesson and then to move on. People stay in cycles because they don't recognize when the cycle is done. And you're at a place where you're like, okay, you know what, I've done this. That in itself is a form of power. So what you say is to your higher self, you say, okay, higher self, we've learned the lesson, thank you. And I think you've already acknowledged that here, honestly. But say it again, and then say, now I release that. And I tell you, I see around you, it's not going to be till about January, February, but around that time is where I feel some doorways are opening for you. And I do think there'll be some business connections in the new year. I would like to encourage you to be open to starting your own business. I feel that you have a lot of creativity, I think you have a lot of talent, and I think if you would start considering developing your own business, this is where success would be. I don't want to tell you what you have to do now. I think kind of that's part of what you want to work on. But I will tell you have great gifts in the area of communication. I also feel you have a gift working with artistic things like imagery, like graphics. Could be very good, for example, web development or stuff like this. So you definitely got power that's creative. I think you have knowledge of technology. And I think you have a drive and an ambition to succeed. And so your higher self, I believe, is already starting the process. Now what you want to do is just follow through. Start assuming that you have a business. You say, what? I don't have anything. You just say, I have a business. And then you start building a daily structure as if you're working. And what will happen is you will create an environment where things will come into your life to support that work. So set up a daily schedule. And I want you each day to start to say, what is my agenda? Okay, for example, if you had your own business, what would you have? Would you have a website? Do you have a website? All right, if you don't, your goal this week is to start researching how to set up your own website. And you might say, well, wait a second, Bob, I don't even know what the business is going to be. Doesn't matter. Just get a domain. Put it under your name. Okay? It can be Brian McHugh Incorporated. Doesn't matter what you call it, but start it. Then I want you to start planning, well, gee, I need business cards and a logo. Okay? And at that point, you can start to think about some things you could do. Now, again, similar to Just D's creation, the first letter, I don't want you to limit yourself. You don't have to say, well, I just have to do website development, or I just have to do, painting. It's all together because you're channeling your own business. And so you can create from many places. For example, in my business, I'm a psychic. Predominantly, I do readings. But not only do I do readings, I do astrology, which is a separate class from psychic, from spiritualist work. I do mediumship, which is spiritualism. I do astrology, which is horoscopes and horoscope charts. I also write books, and I'm also a talk show guest. So I'm a performer. I go out and do lectures and appearances. All of these are different. It could each be a separate job in themselves, but in my job, in my case, they've all blended together. And so I don't limit myself, and you shouldn't limit yourself. This is how you start to form your business. And when you have your own business, you will break out of the cycle of poverty. And I'm not saying this to brag, but I want to be honest with you. When I started out as a psychic, I was very, very poor. In fact, I almost ended up homeless, and that's not a joke. But when I embraced my calling as a psychic, my world changed. I started having money. I got out of debt. I ended up becoming successful, well-known. I bought a home. My life changed, and I have an office and a staff, and now I'm looking to hire bodyguards. So you see, life evolved. And I, like you, was very, very poor, so I know what poverty is. And so when you say, thanks for the lesson, I say that too. So, all right, I'm glad. And you know what? Seriously, I am, in a deep level, thankful for those struggle years. I never want to forget poverty. A lot of people become successful and they say, well, I don't ever want to remember that. I understand that because there's a lot of pain there. But at the same time, I'm thankful because I reminded myself that I went through the worst and I survived. I wonder how many people have been literally calling homeless shelters because you were on the street. I've been there. Okay? And I don't have to ever go back now. And it's not that I'm immensely wealthy, but you know what? I do okay and I'm happy, I'm successful. And don't define success just by the money in the bank. Just define it by how much joy you have in your day. I get up every day, I do readings, I meet people all over the world, I write my books, I, go on shows. My life is joyful. And that's worth more than $1 million paycheck. If you get $1 million paycheck, but you're in a job you hate, believe me, that $1 million doesn't bring you happiness. So make happiness your goal. And if you make that your goal, you'll be successful. Okay? I hope that helps a little bit. Thank you for writing. All right. Our next letter is from T. Rose Lover. Hello, T. Rose Lover. T. Rose Lover writes and says, Dear Psychic Bob, excuse me, I just found out that I meet all the criteria for being a white witch. And I am also a Christian. What should I do? Hi, T. Rose Lover. Well, hon, who says there has to be a conflict? You see, a witch is somebody who is attuned to the natural power of the earth. I've met people that are Christians and actually practice witchcraft. Now, some of them would say they're not witches, but they are. And I don't think it has to be a conflict necessarily. I mean, the church will tell you, the Christian church will say, you can't be a witch, it's evil. But I always found the people that are drawn to witchcraft really have it in their soul. They've had it since birth. It's not some aberrant behavior that is, an errant or abhorrent behavior that needs to be crushed out of them. It's who they are. Lady Gaga has a song said, Born This Way. I was born this way. I can't sing today. My voice is gone. I can't even sing when I do have a voice. But witches are born, I believe. Now, a lot of people say, well, I didn't know about witchcraft till I was 20 and then I became a witch. But actually, if you study the lives of people who practice the craft, it's been in them somewhere since childhood. It really has. And, I would say, first of all, also I want to define, you say that you're called to be a white witch. Really, there's only witches. White witch, black witch, these are terms that, a lot of people may, but, the craft, as we practice it in Wicca, and there are various forms of witchcraft, but I practice Wicca. Wicca says that the Wiccan read, which is, end it, harm none, do as you will. So that means if you're not purposely trying to hurt people, you're not trying to be reckless and destructive, you can practice the craft however you want. Do your spells in love and you'll always be successful. There may come a point where you may discover that you're more at home in the craft than you are in the church. And at that point, you may have to decide which way you want to go. The Wicca that I practice is a pagan form of witchcraft. We honor the ancient religion, the ancient gods. I love the ancient gods like Bridget and Isis and, Cernunnos and Pan and all of this lady, the goddess Diana. These gods and goddesses would not be accepted in the Christian church. But then again, when you say you're a Christian, do you belong to a church or are you just a Christian, who believes in Christ? Because, see, there are some witches who say that Jesus was a witch. I think there could be a strong argument for it. And he had a coven. His apostles were a coven. So he had 13, him and 12 apostles. That's the traditional witch coven, is a high priestess and 12 members. And so, and Jesus did magic. Jesus, walked on water. He transformed water into wine. He healed blind people. He levitated. He raised people from the dead. He had all this power. And Jesus himself said, he said, why do you marvel at these things? All of these things that I do, you shall do also. So the followers of Jesus were given a command that they too have the power. And I think those of us who follow the craft really walk in that power, because everything Jesus did, he did out of love, okay? If you're following Wicca, you're working out of love. So the energies are really harmonious. We may call God Osiris rather than God the Father, or we might call on Thor instead of Jesus. But that's just our convention. I know witches who do magic, and they say Jesus is the Lord, his mother Mary is the lady. I think there's a valid argument for that. So don't put yourself in that box that you have to suddenly now quit Christianity or quit the craft. Let the journey take you where it will. For now, you might be comfortable considering that, you could have Jesus as the Lord, the God figure, and Mary as the goddess. If you study the iconography and the history of the titles of Mary, she certainly fits the goddess tradition. She assumed many of the titles of the goddess Isis. Goddess Isis is one of my goddesses. And one of Isis's titles was Queen of Heaven. Look in any Catholic prayer book. Mary is called Queen of Heaven. And so you might want to embrace that as your Lord and your Lady. Ask the Spirit to show you the path and to reveal to you who your Lord and Lady is. I find many times that the gods call us. We think we're going to go, so I'm going to go work with Mars, okay? And then instead of, you start studying Mars, and suddenly goddess, Diana appears in your life. And suddenly she's everywhere you go, and it's like she's calling to you, and you end up working with her. Now, originally you thought you were going to work with Mars, but Diana came and fetched you. So be open to that, because you might start working with Jesus and Mary, and then you might have Cernunnos call you, or Pan, or Hecate. I would encourage you, there's some books I think you want to read. One of them is called The Spiral Dance. It's by Starhawk. It's a little bit more on the feminist perspective, but I think it's a really nicely written book. I would also encourage you to read Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. I don't have that book here with me, but look up Scott Cunningham. Actually, I have one of his books. So this is his second book. This is called Living Wicca. This is the second one. The first one is called Wicca, and then the second one's Living Wicca. But there's the author, Scott Cunningham. This would be a great introduction. Now, he writes from a pagan perspective. And if you want to follow the craft, I think it's worth your time to know the history of the craft, at least, from the pagan perspective. And then study the Christian history. And as you work through both of them, you'll come to discover, what's true for you. And this is something where it's like each crafter is really called on their own. So I can't say, go worship this god, go worship that god. I can tell you, that each of the gods will reveal themselves to you. Study the mysteries, know the elements, know the seasons. There's so much I could spend 6 hours talking about this. But to answer your question, and I'm in a long tangent here, but I hope it helps. Don't feel that you have to define yourself and be locked into one thing or another. Spirituality is actually very inclusive. Now, even in the Wiccan circles, I'll tell you, we've got fundamentalist Wiccans, and you would have believed it. I never would have thought it, but I've encountered Wiccans that say, if you don't cast a circle with this exact wording in this way, you're not a real witch, and you'll be, offending the gods. Don't get into that either. Fundamentalism crushes the spirit. I think in the craft you'll find more openness rather than fundamentalism. And you'll be able to have discussions with a lot of witches. Most witches, honestly, don't care who you worship. They don't care that you go to church on Sunday. And, if your spells are working, you're feeling connected, that's all we care about. We want you to be happy. So we're not here to force our faith. But I'm glad that you feel a draw to the craft. I suspect for you it is a past life connection. And, I'm going to just leave it there. So explore, discover, read, question. Don't take everything at face value. I've read some Wiccan books that I've had to throw away. I'm like, this is bull. This is somebody forcing their views. Everybody has their own take on it, but you'll find a lot of common themes in the craft. Most crafters believe in the Lord and the Lady, a dual divinity. They believe in elemental powers of earth, air, fire, water, spirit. Most of us believe in reincarnation. We believe that spirituality is something that's deep, that can't always be defined by a book. Most of us do not believe in a sacred scripture. Doesn't mean we don't revere them. You know, we find, I even read the Bibles, and there are passages in the Bible that I feel are inspired, but I don't believe that there's any one true word of God or scripture. I think it's all inspired. You know, the Bible is a channeled work, and it makes, you know, valid as a channeled work, but also A Course in Miracles is a channeled work. So what I'm saying is try to consider that the Spirit breathes life through many ways and traditions, and the craft is part of that, and it doesn't necessarily have to conflict with Christianity. In fact, I think Jesus, were he walking the earth today, would be much more in harmony with the Wicca than he would be with a lot of these churches that are claiming to be in his name. My personal view. Anyways, I hope that gives you a little insight. So explore, you know, let it be both for now. You'll find out which path you're called to. But don't lock one in to the exclusion of the other. I hope that helps. Blessings to you. Thanks for writing. All right, our next letter, we're going a little long today. I hope you guys don't mind. I have a lot of info here for y'all. Our next letter is from Raven Williams. Hello, Raven. Raven writes this. Dear Bob, I recently had a dream that I was inside a large building, a high-rise with several people. In my dream, a bomb was about to be set off. Ooh, that sounds scary. And everyone was scrambling to get out. I tried to go to the lower levels to get out, but somehow kept going to the higher levels. The bomb went off, and the building began to collapse. I was inside the building, and I knew I was going to die. In my dream, I woke to find myself with friends who I had never seen before, and they were taking care of me. I was injured, but not dead. What does this dream mean? Oh my gosh, that's a very intense dream, Raven. Well, first of all, let me just start by saying that is not a prophecy, okay? You're not going to die. I don't pick up prophetic energy off that dream. What that dream is, though, is that it's a sign of powerful life transformation. And it's a good transformation, not a scary one. Many times in our dreams, what appears terrifying is simply us facing the truth of who we are. For example, in this, you're in a large building with a lot of people, okay? What this means is that up till now, you've been going through life just being part of the crowd. When the bomb comes, this is what we call a deciding life moment. It could be awakening to a calling. It could be a life transition, like a trip to someplace. But the bomb represents for you a moment of awakening, okay? And part of it is when you're trying to get out of the building, part of it is you're saying, I just would rather be with the crowd. I don't want to stand out. I'm not interested in this explosive moment of new beginning, which is natural. Don't feel bad about that. But on a subconscious level, it represents a little bit of fear of embracing who you are, of embracing change. And when the bomb goes off, that is a sign that you've met. Now you're at a point in your life where the power is about to be released and you're going to go through change. Now what's interesting is you say that you try to go to the lower floors, but you keep ending up on the higher floors. What the higher floors, why you keep going up, is that what that is, that's your higher self speaking in the dream. And your higher self is saying, despite the turbulence, despite the fear, despite the chaos, I'm going to choose to go forward. I'm going to choose to rise above the chaos, to rise above the masses and be in my higher self, my true self, to honor who I am. And when you end up, the building collapses, that's the collapse of the old life. And it means that some of what you've known you are leaving behind. It could be friendships, could be a job, could be school. But it means that things as they were will cease to be. But when you wake up among these friends, now you don't know these friends, but what that is, that's representative of your spirit guides. You have a number of spirit guides in the spirit world who are helping you through this transition. And it's a sign from the heavenly realms that you're never alone, you're going to be protected through this, and you're starting new. It also represents that new people that you don't know, people that have not yet entered your life will soon be entering. So I believe that element has a little bit of prophetic reality. It means that not only the spirit world protecting you, but new people are coming to your life who will be with you on this new journey. So I want you to be open to letting go of things that have bound you. I have to be honest, as a psychic, I feel like this last year to 2 years for you has been kind of a little bit of stagnation, maybe almost painful stagnation. And it's like Spirit's forced you into a corner now to where it's like you're ready to start new. You're ready to let go of what's binding you. So this is all a very good dream. And I feel like it's a sign that you're going to be just fine. Be ready for new beginning. I keep seeing, like, as we go into the new year, around February is a significant time for a lot of this to manifest. So I feel you're just getting a little glimpse of the powers building, and in the new year, you're really going to be in harmony with it and moving forward. Okay. I hope that helps you. Blessings to you. Thanks for writing. All right. Our next letter is from Dustin. Hi, Dustin. Dustin writes this, Dear Bob, sometimes I feel I have somebody in spirit around me. I don't know what this means. Is it good or bad? And do you pick up anything on this? Many thanks, Dustin. Hi, Dustin. Thanks for writing. You know, I have to tell you, when I step into your frequency, I'm actually getting, yes, I am getting a spirit around you. You actually get 2 spirits around you. One of them is a spirit guide, a very tall gentleman, blondish hair, and he's like kind of angelic. And I get the name around him of Mark or Marcus. So I feel that he's one of your spirit guides. He's dressed in kind of like a Roman-style robe, like a toga-type long robe, very mystical looking. And Marcus is a guide for you. They keep counting off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's been with you for the last 5 years, okay? I also pick up a second vibration around you. I feel that is also a protecting spirit. I'm getting it feels like a male here. This feels like it's very close, almost like a close friend around you. I almost want to go like a brother vibration. Fletcher said it this way, you have a brother in spirit around you. And they're asking me to tell you that this brother has come also to guide you. It does look like you've crossed through a little bit of a challenging time, particularly over the last 6 months here, last year really. And this brother has come in just to let you know he's walking with you. I feel he's been around quite a while. So, but he is with you, and also the other spirit guide, Marcus. And I feel like both of them are protectors for you. So what you want to do to connect with them is just, sit down every day for just 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Close your eyes and just invite them to be present. So I give you permission to help me. I welcome you. Communicate with me. Fletcher says to tell you your brother has a message for you. Hold on. Let me see if I can get him through. Hold on. Bring him closer, Fletcher. I hear him laughing, and it's funny because it's almost like he's saying, haha, I pulled a trick on you. I get the sense during his life he liked to be a little bit of a joker. And it seemed like he feels like, everybody's saying, oh, he died way too young. He died way too young. But the way he says it to me, he said, I was ready to go. I think he's an old soul, to tell you the truth. And he keeps saying, he said, and I'm going to be popping around in the next few months. I get the sense he's going to be around you through the holidays. So you might want to, just get a little present and put it under the tree for him if you do Christmas, or, just put a little something out. I would like you, with Thanksgiving coming, wonderful time to connect with our relatives in spirit. And you could maybe just make a little dinner plate for him. Say, brother, I set this food out to welcome you to our feast. But, let's just don't forget your angels. So make a plate for Marcus. But definitely for your brother, because humans relate to food. And he'll like that. But he's around, you get a brother around you. Again, I feel like he keeps saying, I didn't go before my time. So I get the sense he's at peace with this crossing. And he says everything in his body is working again. I get the sense at the time of his crossing, it was like somebody shows me they're like switches being shut off, like organ failure, things going down. It's like he just went down. But he's fine now. He's fully empowered. He's in the light. But I get both of these around you, and I would just encourage you, spend, a few minutes each day just talking to them. Spirit people are easy to communicate. We just talk to them and they're present with us, okay? So he'll be with you. Anyways, that's the spirits I get around you, and I hope that gives you a little help today. Thanks for writing. Blessings to you. Oh my gosh, guys. Well, we went longer than normal, but I hope this has been helpful for you. I am so glad you guys are here. Thanks for being part of Spirit Channel. You guys rock. Keep it here tomorrow on Wednesday. We got Wicca Wednesday, and we're going to have something fun. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but just be back here, and we're going to make it happen. I love you guys. Sending you blessings. By the way, also pop over to the front page of my YouTube channel, on my channel page, and click and connect. It's hard to say. Click and connect to Kelly Coffee. Her last name spelled just like coffee, C-O-F-F-E. And I'll see you there on her show on Halloween. We'll talk more about that till then, but make sure to get on her screen, on her page. All right, guys, I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Wicca Wednesday. And until then, may you blessed be. I'm all style in my new hat. Oh, by the way, put your questions for next week's show in the info box below. Or not the info, in the comments section. I cannot talk today, guys. Put your questions. You want to ask me a question, put it there. Or write to me at my email at readings@robert-hickman.com. The email link will be in the info box below. Visit my website also. Check out my books I got over there, robert-hickman.com. Anyways, all that's in the box below. We'll see you here tomorrow. Till then, blessed be.